The Chicago Bears take on the Cleveland Browns in the final game of the NFL preseason. What should we look out for in this game? Watch this video to find out. What's up, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears pregame prediction video, which I'll be doing every single week this year. So if you guys want my prediction videos and other Bears content as well, definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel. There's going to be a lot of content coming out for you guys in the coming weeks and months because the regular season now is starting in only 2 weeks. Okay, about 2 weeks until the games start to matter. Week 1 is going to be against the 49ers at Soldier Field. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Okay, even though this is kind of a rebuilding type of season, I'm always excited for Bears football. Okay, and there's a lot to be excited about on this football team. Even though we're not contenders, okay, there's still Justin Fields, a young, talented quarterback. We're going to be looking at his development. We're going to be looking at other young players, their developments, new coaching staff here, new culture that we're going to be building to hopefully, win a Super Bowl in the years beyond. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm still interested in watching. And if you guys are interested in that as well, definitely be sure to watch these videos throughout the year. But putting that aside, guys, let's talk about our final preseason game of the year against the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be in Cleveland. Justin Fields will be traveling back to the place where he had his first start as a member of the Chicago Bears, and a nightmare start, okay, because he got sacked 11 times in that game. We had like -1 total passing yards in that game. It was one of the worst Bears performances I've seen in my entire life, which is saying a lot. So hopefully we see Justin Fields and the Bears offense exercise their demons from last time in this exact stadium. But looking at this game, guys, it's pretty much going to be a dress rehearsal for week 1, okay, for both the offense and the defense, because head coach Matt Eberflus said that starters will play the majority of the first half. 25 to 30 plays will be given to the starters on the offense and the defense, which is a pretty big amount, guys. I mean, that's basically the entire first half, if not, most of it. And, that's something we have not seen since before the Matt Nagy days, okay? Matt Nagy obviously never played starters in preseason, like, ever, okay? Maybe they had a few reps here and there, but it was very limited, obviously, and nothing as much as, like, one full half of football, like, Eberflus is giving to the starters right now, which I actually like this a lot, guys, because I know there's going to be an injury risk, okay? You're going to be putting Justin Fields and the other players on the offense and the defense at risk for injury because that's what playing football is, okay? The more football you play, the higher risk you have of being injured. But right now the Bears team is in no sort of position to miss out on these valuable reps because, guys, there's so much brand new that is happening on this team. We have a brand new playbook that we are installing. We have a very young quarterback as well. We have a lot of brand new receivers, a lot of O-linemen that are completely brand new, and you're not going to gain that chemistry without playing in live football games. If you're so scared of injury, why even watch or play football in the first place? Okay, it's one of the most brutal, violent sports there is, and obviously injuries are going to happen. They can happen at any time in practice, off the field, anywhere they can happen. So, I wouldn't be too overly concerned or too overly hesitant about putting starters on the field because a lot of other teams in the NFL are doing that as well. I mean, Tom Brady and Matt Ryan, both guys that are almost 40 or above 40, are starting this Saturday, and they're actually contenders, especially the Buccaneers. They're definitely a contending team, but they're risking injury for Brady by putting him on the football field because these reps could be valuable for the Bucs offense. Okay, Brady has missed a lot of time in the preseason. So a lot of teams, including ours, will be treating this week as a dress rehearsal for week 1, which should help us be a lot more prepared for week 1, which will be in about 2 weeks. Okay, if we did not play this week, then it would have been almost like 3.5 weeks since our starters last played in any type of game action. But talking more about this game, guys, let's talk about the offense now. What I expect to see from the Chicago Bears offense, and I'm definitely expecting, guys, to see at least 1 touchdown scored by the first team offense. Okay, we have not scored a single touchdown so far with the first team offense in preseason. Now, granted, it's only been 3 drives, and a lot of guys have been injured. And even in this game, guys, I think a lot of guys are going to be out. Like Velus Jones, Byron Pringle obviously will be out. N'Keal Harry will be out as well. So the receiver talent will be limited a lot. You can expect to see Ryan Poles maybe get more receiver talent after this game, after cuts happen, which cuts are happening next Wednesday, I believe. So that's when we should see, maybe some more additions. But in this game, it's going to be a pretty limited receiving core. But I still want to see Justin Fields go down the field and get at least 1 touchdown for the Chicago Bears starting offense to get some type of confidence going into the regular season. Okay, you're going to be getting 25 to 30 plays in this game, and you should be able to score a touchdown at least once in those plays. Okay, it's going to be going up against the starting Browns defense. To my knowledge, I'm not totally sure which Browns defenders are going to be playing, which ones are not going to be. So if Myles Garrett is on the football field, obviously that's going to be a tough challenge for the Chicago Bears offense because he had a crazy amount of sacks last year against Justin Fields. And I really want to see how this Bears offensive line looks in their first extended playing time. So far, we've only seen them on the field for like 1 or 2 drives at a time, which is really not enough to take anything away from. But this time, they will be playing an entire half of football. And it is going to be the starters out there that I think will be starting week 1. Okay, it's going to be Braxton Jones, Cody Whitehair, Sam Mustipher, which actually Sam Mustipher hopefully does not start week 1. Hopefully Lucas Patrick is back by then. But for this game, Mustipher will be in there. Then right guard is going to be Tevin Jenkins, and right tackle Larry Borom. Okay, the second-year players that we drafted last year. And if the offensive line has a average performance against a pretty talented Browns defensive line, Browns defensive front, I would be pretty encouraged going into week 1. Okay, we still have a very young offensive line right now. 3 out of our 5 starters are below the age of 25. So it's going to be a lot of growing, a lot of learning on the fly, and there might be some growing pains this year, but if they get better week by week, that's all I'm really going to be asking for. And I do want to see some more movement at the line of scrimmage in regards to the running game. Okay, last couple games, okay, our starting first team offense has not really looked that good running the football. Okay, and obviously we haven't had David Montgomery in there, our starting running back, but Khalil Herbert, our backup RB, is still good enough to move the football down the field. I mean, last year whenever he had to start, he had some pretty solid outings. So I think it's more about the offensive line not blocking that well in the run game right now, but hopefully it gets better as the season progresses, and hopefully in this game we see some more of that, better blocking. So hopefully we see a good performance from the starting offensive line. I'm also hoping to see something from Equanimeous St. Brown in this game, because so far this preseason he's shown basically nothing. Okay, he's been on the field for some plays, but he hasn't gotten many receptions. He's basically been a non-factor so far. So I'm hoping that since he's number 2 on the depth chart right now, he can make a couple plays to prove he belongs at the number 2 spot on the depth chart. Okay, I know it's only been a couple drives so far in the preseason, so the sample size has been extremely small, but in this game it's going to be a pretty decently sized sample size. Okay, 1 entire half of football. You should be able to get the ball to St. Brown somewhere in this game if he's actually going to be a big part of your offense like it says on the depth chart. So that's one receiver I'll definitely be looking at. Obviously, hopefully Darnell Mooney does well, because he is the number 1 receiver on the depth chart. And hopefully Cole Kmet also gets involved in this game like he did in the last game, because Cole Kmet, like we saw last game, is going to be a big factor in this Bears offense. He's going to be looking to take that, year 3 step that a lot of tight ends do in year 3. So hopefully, a big year is coming out of Cole Kmet, and we see something in this game to indicate more of that. But that's the Bears offense. I'm just hoping for at least 1 offensive touchdown. Anything beyond that would be pretty nice for me, but got to get that 1 touchdown for me to be happy in this game. And hopefully Luke Getsy, continues calling plays that take advantage of Justin Fields' skill sets like he did in the last 2 games. Okay, moving the pocket around, moving Justin Fields around, and also helping out our offensive line with all of that movement. But that is the offense. Let me switch over to the defense now. What I'm looking for on the defensive side is just another strong performance like they've had the last 2 games pretty much. Okay, Eberflus has definitely shown his coaching, prowess, I would say, this early in his Bears career, because the Bears defense right now is a lot more disciplined than it has been the last couple years. Okay, the tackling effort has been a lot better, even with the backups. We're getting pressure on the quarterback pretty consistently. Even in the first game against the Chiefs, we did allow a touchdown against Mahomes, but Mahomes had a lot of pressure on him on that drive. Okay, Al-Quadin Muhammad and Travis Gibson, could have had sacks. They were probably like half a second away from getting sacks on that drive. So the pressure has been pretty consistent. Hopefully it continues to be consistent in this game. Going up against, it's probably going to be Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Deshaun Watson is not playing at all in preseason, throughout the rest of the preseason. He did play, I believe, week 1 for a little bit, but Kevin Stefanski did say he's not going to play for the rest of the preseason, so we can't expect to see Watson in this game, but we will see, Brissett and who else? Joshua Dobbs, maybe Josh Rosen, their 4th string quarterback. So I'm not sure how much each quarterback is going to play, even if it's only Jacoby Brissett for the majority of the game. He's not exactly the most eye-shattering talent at quarterback, so I'm hoping we can have a similar performance like we did last week against Geno Smith, because I would say Geno Smith and Jacoby Brissett are kind of similar in terms of talent, in terms of play at this point in their careers. Now, obviously, the Browns have a much better offensive line surrounding Jacoby Brissett than the Seahawks did with Geno Smith. So it will be a little bit harder in this game for our defense to hold the Browns offense to 0 points like we did against the Seahawks, but even holding them to only like under 10 points in the first half would be a pretty fine performance by the Bears starters in the first half while they're actually out there. So yeah, hopefully the defense does pretty good. The tackling has been a lot better so far. The penalties also have been almost eliminated up to this point. Okay, we've had very few penalties at this point in the preseason. So I'm just hoping that both for offense and defense, the strong, discipline continues in this game. Okay, we've seen a lot of discipline, a lot of effort in the first 2 games, and hopefully that continues as these starters will be playing a lot more time in this game. But let me get to my score prediction now. Again, it literally does not matter if we win or lose. This game result is meaningless, but I have the Chicago Bears losing by a score of 24-21, simply because we're probably due for a loss now at this point, guys. We've already won 2 games, and it's kind of unlikely you win all of your 3 preseason games. It's definitely possible considering how well we've played up to this point in preseason. Okay, our guys have been very disciplined. Our backups have been playing, out of their minds, like amazing. So it is possible we win. I think it's going to be pretty close, but just kind of going based on probability, we might be due for a loss at this point because these games do not matter. But I do think the Bears first team offense will score at least 1 touchdown this game, which I'll be pretty happy about, guys. Okay, hopefully we score more than that. Hopefully we score 3 touchdowns, but that's obviously pretty unlikely. I'll be happy with 1, considering where the offense is at this point, and hopefully we see that in this game. Let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments down below, what predictions you guys have, and I'll be back with my post-game reaction on Saturday night or maybe on Sunday. If it's a late game. It is a late game. Okay, the game starts at like 6 something, so might be out for you guys on Sunday, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, bear down.